This is my absolute favorite charcoal drawing technique. The first thing I do is I cover the entire sheet of paper with vine charcoal, drawing with the side. Then you take your hand, smooth it out. This is called Bob's Fine Vine Charcoal. It's this giant pack of big charcoal sticks. I find this is just so much easier to use than those really thin vine charcoal sticks. The way I like to start the portrait, quickly try to mass in. I think I put this too low, so if you don't like it, just take your hand and smudge it out. So very, very loose, really general. This takes time, placing your portrait. So if you find that you're just over and over again, you have to fix things, that's exactly the way it should be. You really have to provide equal attention to every single part of the portrait. So in this case, his clothing is incredibly important. It says everything about his character. So things like the suit that he's wearing, don't leave that stuff out. What I really liked about Ricky Rojas is that he had this very guttural coarseness to his voice. The ear is not a bony landmark, but it's extremely helpful because I always compare, okay, what is the height of the ear to the height of the eye? People ask me about proportions. Well, how do I know where things go, how big they are? So I make comparisons. I say, okay, here is the corner of his jawbone, and where is the height of the shoulder in relation to that? The height of the shoulder is not that much below that. It's like a tiny bit below. And so actually the height of the shoulder should be here based on the jawbone. Like I had it all the way down here. The nose, it's more about the nasal bone. The other stuff is less important. What I'm trying to do with the nasal bone is to get the right angle and to really firmly establish it. Fine charcoal is for the beginning part of the drawing when you're making all kinds of changes and you're moving things around. That's when you want to use the vine charcoal. You don't want to use it beyond that, though. It will flake out on you. Compressed charcoal, I know a lot of you think it's not very friendly, but it is so loyal. The collar is a really important shape. And so that's a good way to think about clothing, shape. And then also this spot here, you can see I really emphasize that because that's where his beard comes in. In my drawing, there is a mix of boxy marks like this, but there's also very soft round strokes. And I think a lot of people, it's one or the other. It's either all boxy or all organic. And so when it's too organic, it looks like noodles. And when it's too harsh, it looks almost robotic. And so you want to combine those different types of strokes. I think maybe, the jawbone's a little more tilted than I had it. Okay, so then that pushes the ear over here. Does everybody see how many times I'm redrawing things? I must have drawn the ear at least 4 times by now. So never feel like, I didn't get it the first time. No way, I can't do that. Maybe he's not tilted enough. Bring in the beard a little bit. Maybe tilt the cheekbone a little more. Yeah, that would make me sad if I didn't get the tilt because ultimately that's extremely important. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I was missing the tilt. And so actually the ear is all the way up here. And, yes, this is it. This is it. I got it. Okay. I was missing the tilt. The tilt was not there. Oh, that's better. Okay. But then that moves this and it also moves the eye. Yeah, because the right eye is higher. So don't be afraid to make these gigantic structural changes because they make a difference. Okay, that also tilts his nose. With the compressed charcoal, I add the dark values, big areas of tone. And by the way, you don't want to press too hard. If you press really hard, it's difficult to erase. So I'm putting it down so you can see it. If I went in and I did it like this, that would be terrible to erase. You could, but it's a lot of work. And so you can see this is visibly darker than the vine charcoal, but not by much. I'm going to keep the clothing very gestural. Okay, now here I'm just going to block in big area of tone, but then I'm going to go in harsher with a darker line so I can put in the jacket. Isn't that fun? How quickly it comes together? Once you get past that initial stage, I call it the bulldozer eraser. It can just clear out big areas of value. I love this part. It's so fun. And I try to do it in a very blunt manner. You got to press hard. So cool. And you're trying to block out shapes. So you're doing the bluntest, the biggest shapes, and you're not trying to smudge anything. So the eraser stick is a phenomenal tool. So this is very scribbly, and maybe I'm lazy, but I feel like I would rather do that. Here, there's actually a highlight on the hair, and that comes from the rim lighting. So I might smudge a little here, but I really prefer more of the direct marks.